So we're going to focus. There's been a lot of questions and inquiries, and as realtors, we're not sure what's happening in the real estate world with the coronavirus. So I asked a couple of mentors to join me as well. And I don't know if Richard's on the line. He's one of our attorneys that's also an agent. Richard, are you on the line?
I am. Yes, here I am.
Okay, great. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate it, you joining. He's an attorney at law, so I had asked him to join also in case there's any law type questions and also any disclosures that we may have to produce. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So Governor Abbott announced regarding real estate essentials, what is an essential and are we essential? And then some guidelines to carry out in real estate activities. So we're going to be focusing on showing homes, listing and attending closings, and staying safe by the government guidelines. Also, I'm going to be showing some addendums during the coronavirus for residential and commercial use. And then we're going to talk about some other activities. So let's see. So the Texas governor on Tuesday, March 31st, he issued a statewide essential services order, and you can find this on websites. And it's basically a stay-at-home order that only allows people to leave their homes if performing an essential activity. For example, going to the grocery store, doctor, pharmacy, gas stations, restaurant, takeouts, or going to work at an essential business. So what Governor Abbott did, he added that regarding the statewide order, that residential and commercial real estate services, including settlement services, which involves title companies, are included as essential for the entire state of Texas. This also includes references to residential leasing and property management. Now, there was another order before this where there was counties that said that they were not part of essential and they were part of essential. So there was some confusion there. I believe Fort Bend County was one of them where it was that real estate was not essential. I think Montgomery County was limited. Harris County was considered essential as regarding real estate. But regardless of what county we live in or do business in, the governor's order supersedes all of those counties. As of 12:01 a.m. on Thursday, April 2nd, the statewide order goes into effect and continues through April 30th. And we are listed as an essential service. For more information, you can go to the CISA website for this. And again, if you still have any questions about what you can and cannot do, you can always, of course, contact an attorney. Again, we have to practice social distancing and health and safety guidelines. We must follow those. And again, I'm sure you guys have been hearing this a lot, but the CDC urges individuals to take measures to protect themselves, washing hands frequently, avoid touching eyes, practice social distancing, avoid close contact with anyone who's sick, stay home if you have a fever, cough, shortness of breath, or flu-like symptoms, clean and disinfect frequently touched objects and surfaces, and cover your mouth and nose with a tissue when there's a cough or sneeze. So that's just things that we always have been hearing about from the CDC. Okay. Showing homes, listing homes, and attending closings, and staying safe by the government guidelines. I listed a couple of questions here and statements that a lot of those agents have, and we're not sure what to do, how to do it, So the first one is, should you attend a closing? Now, I got all this information from HAR website. So this is all from HAR. HAR states regarding attending closings, plan not to attend the closing. Address any concerns with your client ahead of time. If your client cannot attend closing, then the client should speak to the attorney or the title company about maybe using a power of attorney. You as the realtor should not be on the power of attorney. So there HAR states we are not allowed to attend a closing. And this is actually true because I was supposed to attend a closing last week, and the title company told me that I was not allowed to come. Only my buyer and the escrow agent. So I kind of already saw this. Another one is sellers don't want to allow showings in some cases. This may be happening to you if you're a listing agent. And how can you go about this and let other agents know it's still active on HAR for the consumers? One thing that HAR recommends is that you can select a temporary no showings in the field of showing matrix. Not want allow showings, but want to keep the listing active. Now, one concern that some of the agents have is, hey, Fernando, what about the days on the market? Because if we're not showing the house, then the days on the market are going to increase, and it's going to show as a negative, meaning that the house, not selling. So if that's a concern, what HAR recommends is to change the status of the listing to withdraw. You can do that, and what that will do is it will stop the days on the market from accruing. But one thing that you need to be aware of, even though the DOM will not be updated, the CDOM will show the numbers of days. CDOM is the cumulative days on the market. And I don't know if some of you guys have noticed that there's, on the days on the market field, there's a DOM/CDOM. And you always wonder why there's a difference. Now, normally DOM and CDOM are usually the same number of days. But in this particular case, whenever you switch it to withdrawal, it's going to stop the days on the market from countering as a counter of days, but the CDOM will continue to accumulate. So that's one thing that's going to happen. What does HAR recommend we do if questioned by the law enforcement? For example, if a police stops you while you're conducting business, even though HAR states that this may not happen, you can always just make a statement that you're part of the essential. I don't know if Richard, our attorney, can say something about that, but something that HAR posted on here that we can just say that we're part of the essential for the government, Texas governor.
You definitely want to say that and carry a business card or your national realtor pin with you. Carry something with you to show it.
Good idea. Good idea. So now's your chance to have your business cards always handy in your car. Very good. And also that other any kind of other symbols.
We also have our HAR membership card, the little plastic laminated card that they give you.
Yes, correct. So, can realtors still do open houses? I don't know if you guys have heard, but HAR has removed the feature, the functionality of the open house matrix. So we're not even see it as far as the button to schedule open houses until further notice. HAR is currently developing a platform to allow for the broadcast and promotion of virtual open houses on HAR. And they're going to do this shortly. Another question is, can I still take my clients on showings? HAR would first recommend virtual showings. Then they would recommend only doing in-person showing of a vacant home. And I believe that's one of the questions that was asked earlier in one of the chats. And avoiding them in occupied homes to minimize the possibility of being exposed to coronavirus. If you do have showings, please continue to abide by the order guidelines and follow best practices. One thing that HAR states is don't touch anything that doesn't need to be touched within the house. Wear gloves. Don't touch your face. HAR recommends no more than 2 people attend plus the realtor, and still maintain the 6 feet distance between of you while you're showing the house. We also recommend, and I know we don't do this anymore, but we also recommend against driving your client or riding in the same car. or virtual is better when possible. So those are a couple of things that this is from the HAR website, giving us guidance. Regarding establishing a process for property viewings for both sellers and buyers, here's some examples that I got from HAR website on many platforms available for virtual marketing, showings, and other client meetings. And you can go into this TexasRealEstate.com website and click each individual product vendor. So for example, for 3D interactive property scans, these are the companies' websites that you can use. Virtual showing, floor plan online, remote tour, video meetings, Google Hangouts, Apple FaceTime, Skype, Zoom, which we're using now, or on-demand open houses. There's something called Tailored that you can go to, and then documentation. We're all used to .loop, and there's zip forms and or transactions. It looks like I'm getting some questions. Let's see. We just laminated our license. Isn't Montgomery County off limits to even realtors with 1,000 fine? Richard, maybe you can bring that up. There was a question about $1,000 fine. According to the government, to the Texas governor, he states that all counties, and we can read that again. Make sure. It says, here it is, regardless of what county you live in or do business in, the governor order supersedes all counties.
Right. The executive order supersedes any of the county's more restrictive prohibitions on gatherings or business. It also supersedes the definitions of essential gatherings unless a county has something that's broader. So Montgomery County is open. You can do listings, of course. You can do showings, and you can do open houses. Of course, you cannot advertise them on HAR. But you have to keep in mind the social distancing guidelines apply to anything that you do. So if you violate that, I guess you could face $1,000 fine. So
Right.
to me, I don't know how that would stand up in court, but we're in an unusual time period. So social distance, don't get your clients or others sick, of course.
Thank you, sir. All right. Those were some of the questions on the chat. Another thing is there's some new COVID-19 forms that can help us as realtors while in a transaction, or we would like to do it before a transaction. And there's COVID-19 addendum. These were all created, March 31st. Commercial COVID-19 addendum. So the COVID-19 addendum, this form provides for a 30-day extension of closing dates in a residential sales contract if the closing cannot occur due to the voluntary or mandatory COVID-19. The COVID-19 addendum is similar, but it's for commercial sales contracts. The COVID-19 payment plan is also a form for leases. I do have examples of each one of these, and I'll show you in a minute. Then the model COVID-19 certification property access. This model form was created so that the brokers can adopt for use when a potential buyer or other service provider will access the property. And then there's more information if you like. So let me pull up an example of one of the forms. And I would recommend you guys downloading these forms and using them in your arsenal. I'm going to open up the one that's COVID-19 addendum. And as far as they do seem pretty self-explanatory. So they do have quite a bit of instructions. So like this particular addendum does talk about how to use it and recommendations. They do state here that this COVID-19 addendum is not mandatory and may not be appropriate in all circumstances, but it does give you examples of what to do, and if maybe you can just use the regular amendment to extend the closing date, extend the third-party financing. They do suggest to use that as well if you don't want to use this COVID-19 addendum. But they do give you instructions. It also tells you about what forms are applicable for this COVID-19 addendum. And here's the addendum itself. And it just talks about the, this is from Texas Realtors, automatic delay, seller and buyer agree regarding financing contingencies. Of course, they always say to consult an attorney. And it's a note here that says this addendum changes the obligation of the buyer and seller as follows. Possible extension of a closing date in paragraph 9. Possible termination contract beyond terms of paragraph 2. And then they just sign buyer and seller. So this is just an example of one of the addendums. Okay.
So I would say that, just butt in here, that any buyers out there who are looking to do FHA loans, you know, they're dependent heavily on income certification and underwriting, would need to use the addendum up front, because if there's a loss of income or change, then you'd want to give the client a chance to back out even if the financing contingency has passed. If it's a cash deal, then, well, good for you. So it's not as big a deal, but using the addendum for the extended closing date could get rid of any delays, because I have several clients with tenants who are unable to pay the rent. But they were not able to pay the rent for their buildings 3 months ago. So that wasn't due to COVID. That was just due to business failure and difficulty. So people will use the COVID virus as a reason, for future events, when really the problem was something that happened before the virus or something outside of it. But I'd recommend using the addendum on most deals.
Great, thank you.
Oh, that's it.
All right. Okay, so lastly, one thing that I want you guys to realize that we're considered leaders in the community. And I know all of us are also going through some rough times with family, friends, maybe, and part of the situations and the unknown and uncertainty. But I also want you to think of it as we're leaders. We need to be in contact with our friends, family, potential clients. Something that I always have been telling my students is that there's some activities that you can do while through the crisis. One thing is contacting 5 people each day to check up on them. Ask them how they're doing. Is everything good? Another thing is visiting an elderly couple next door to see if they need food or pharmaceuticals. And if you do have any money, where you can, if they look like they can't buy the groceries, or they don't have money, maybe buy the food for them, if you can. Another point is purchasing gift cards from local businesses, restaurants, and handing them out to your clients, or keeping them for later use. That will help a great deal on the community, especially where you live. And if you have the budget, if it's in your budget, purchasing takeout from restaurants for the family. This will help a lot on your community as well. So I want you to, I know it's a struggle. We're not sure about uncertainties of what's happening, but this is something that I would like you to implement in your activities.